Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to Communist Revolutionary Simulator 6, and it's been a rough couple of days. Not in Far Cry 6, it's always a rough day in Far Cry 6, no I mean in reality. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with the details, I'll save that for Mingles with Jingles on Monday, but suffice to say, I am really not in the mood for any of Far Cry 6's shit right now. Which I guess is just, well, as we used to say in the Navy, unlucky! Because giving you shit is just what Far Cry 6 is for. Nevertheless, I was, how can I put this, reminded of just how monumentally dumb the AI is while I was knocking over this TV broadcasting station owned and operated by Maria Marquesa, Castillo's Minister of Bullshit, or his propaganda mouthpiece. Oh, hang on a second. I hear a ticking sound. It must be a tripwire. Yep, there it is. Let me just take care of the camera. And notice all the space between the wall and the tripwire. More than enough space for me to step over the wall without tripping the wire, yeah? You'd think so, wouldn't you? I'll just take care of that guard first. My first of many victims. And now over the wall. And sure enough, straight on top of the tripwire. A tripwire that for some bizarre reason was connected not to a fragmentation grenade or even to a flare, but to a smoke grenade, so thanks for the concealment, I guess. Honestly, Ubisoft, I really don't think booby traps work the way you think they do. And yes, I have put a proper suppressor onto the 1911 instead of that improvised monstrosity. You're welcome. And oh yeah, top tip guys. If you think there may be a violent terrorist outside and you come out with weapons drawn to investigate, perhaps face in the direction of where you expect the threat to be instead of backing slowly towards it. Might just yield better results. I mean, I'm piling up the bodies here, but none of them have actually seen the bodies right at their feet and run off to sound the alarm. There's another one. I'm actually trying to figure out where the alarm panel goes to. I mean, there's a fuse box there. It's probably inside the building. In fact, it is inside the building, but I don't figure that out until later. I mean, I'm looking at the red blobs on the minimap, and it's telling me that there are bad guys very close by. Oh, hang on, that door just opened. Oh, there's another one. Oh, yeah, you just stare at the bodies. Don't go and set any alarms off or anything. No, why would you want to do that? And yes, the accuracy of this 1911, yes, Akazuki, it is still absolutely ridiculous. But honestly, if you thought that was good, Akazuki, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let me show you what happened earlier. So, I'd already checked out the studio earlier from a distance in order to try to identify as many threats as possible before I moved in, and honestly, I really needn't have bothered. But I had identified one alarm panel that was visible from here. You can maybe just make it out there in the distance. A good, I don't know, 250 metres away? Never going to make that shot, right? Not with a 45 caliber pistol with a... Oh, wow, yeah, okay. What did you think of that shot, Akazuki? Was that bullshit or what? Alright, now you're quiet. Oh, Ubisoft. I really don't think handguns work the way you seem to think they do. But anyway, let's get on with the plot. So, I have been putting this particular job off for as long as I possibly could, because it's for Talia. And she's a hateful cow, and I would just as soon see her die as help her out. But the plot requires that I actually pretend to give a shit. So, I'm going to pretend to give a shit and see what it is that she needs done.
Stop the shit you're doing. Castillo's repeating history. My history. Yara was built by slaves, and now so is Viviro. El Presidente is Afro-Yarden, and doesn't even realize the fucking irony. He has innocent people down there. People from our show. We did one in Esperanza. Caused a riot. Castillo's Minister of Bullshit Propaganda, Maria Marquesa, blacklisted us. Locked me up in her academy and tried to fry my brain. But I was lucky. Paulo busted me out. Told me to move on, but I can't. Not with people locked up down there. In cages. Sleeping in their own shit like I was. I don't got skills to break people out. You do. Save them.
Fucking hell, Talia, did you just make the entire institution of slavery all about you in one statement? I've never been that confident.
I'll stay here. Be your lookout.
Need to move fast or people are going to die.
Oh, Talia's going to be my lookout. I feel safer already. You know, she really needs to work on her communication skills, because throughout that whole speech, the only thing that I heard was me, 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 me. You do it.
Mierda.
So, yeah, this used to be a zoo. They still have some wild animals here. They keep the predators in the same cages as the prisoners. Saves on pet food, I suppose. Yeah, there's some real Nazi Joseph Mengele concentration camp shit going on here.
Dog.
Anyway, let's cut to the chase. I mean, you never spot everything that needs to be spotted from these vantage points. There's always some surprises in there, but, well, as you saw earlier when I was knocking over the broadcasting studio, it doesn't really matter. But, well, you know, for the sake of trying to be at least professional about it, I'll go through the paces. Try to at least take out the alarm panel so nobody can signal for reinforcements if everything goes tits up. Although, you've probably noticed that recently I've been doing quite well at the whole stealth thing, and nobody's managed to survive long enough to set off any of the alarms. So, I'm going to start by using a handgun with my first shot and disable an alarm panel at a range that most people would struggle to hit with an M4 carbine, a bipod and a 4x optical scope. I then headshot the guard who's beaten up the prisoner in the courtyard down below, and now it's time to move into the zoo itself. And then, hang on a second. Who raised the alarm? At first I thought this was just more random bullshit, because it was a silenced shot that took out the alarm panel and nobody saw the dead body of the guard that I just shot. But, well, actually they did, because that's a security camera. Yeah, I shot a guard in front of a security camera, so that one's on me. It's actually not going to make that much difference. And no, parachutes don't work the way Ubisoft seems to think they do either. Anyway, the balloon has now well and truly gone up, so I guess I'm just going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Can I get in through that? No. Okay, right. So, let's find a... I mean, there's always a hole in the fence. Castillo's military can afford all kinds of automatic weaponry, jeeps, tanks, trucks, aircraft, ships. But apparently their budget doesn't stretch to a couple of 100 yards of chicken wire. I think I mentioned it earlier, and the gun nerds amongst you have probably noticed it anyway, but I have put a proper suppressor onto the 1911 instead of that improvised monstrosity that you saw me using in previous videos, despite the fact that the improvised monstrosity, which I think was made from a bottle of cleaning fluid and a sock, is actually more effective than this. Because, honestly, I don't know. I've got nothing. I mean, I know that Far Cry 6's whole shtick is improvised weaponry, improvised attachments, and so on and so on. The Supremo backpack weapon is, of course, an improvised weapon. But, I mean, come on. Speaking of Supremo backpack weapons, I've swapped out the rocket launcher, which I keep accidentally triggering every time I try to crouch, for something far more practical. This is the healing Supremo, and it basically makes it impossible to kill. As long as you stay within the area of effect once you've triggered it. It not only emits a cloud of healing things, I think the technical term is the swirly healy thingies, I don't know. But it also gives you damage resistance for a limited amount of time, so, you know, that's nice. And it's much more practical too, because I invariably trigger it by accident when I'm trying to crouch, because the V key, which activates the Supremo, is right next to the C key, which crouches, and so when I do accidentally trigger it, I don't, you know, alert the entire garrison, because I pressed the wrong button when I was trying to sneak. Although I have actually pressed the wrong button when I was trying to sneak before, and nobody paid the slightest bit of attention to all of the 53mm rockets going off all around them, because, you know, Far Cry 6. I do like this MP7, by the way. It is a very, very nice weapon. It's also stupidly accurate. In fact, I think I showed you in the last video that it actually has better accuracy than any of the bolt-action or semi-automatic sniper rifles in the game. Yeah, the machine pistol is one of, if not the most accurate weapons in the game. Of course it is. Anyway, now that I believe I have killed all of the guards, I suppose I should probably rescue some of these prisoners. Oh, by the way, have you noticed how useful Talia was during all of this, from her vantage point? Warning me about, you know, absolutely nothing. Oh, I haven't killed all the guards. Alright, I think I have now. Oh wait, no, there's definitely another one. Where is he? There he is.
Go while you can.
Okay, now I think I've killed all the
Yara
guards.
needs to see this.
So, prisoners. Oh, actually, here's something I noticed.
Keys.
That's also kind of amusing.
Gotta make sure
Oh, hang on,
everyone's
I
out
hear a
first.
helicopter. That's going to have to wait. Yeah, this is a rocket launcher. A unique rocket launcher that I found. Where is that helicopter anyway? Apparently I'm looking... Wait, is it above? Yeah, there it is. So this one actually has a lock-on, which is nice. It's a fire and forget. Unlike the other rocket launcher that you can have, which is laser guided, even though the weapon that it's based on, the Carl Gustav recoilless rifle, isn't guided at all because it's a recoilless rifle. You get the idea. Ubisoft. You just roll with it. You soon learn to stop asking critical questions about weapons hardware when you're playing Far Cry 6. Honestly, you'll give yourself an ulcer trying to count all of the weapon errors. Although, I can't help but notice that this AK-47 actually has the cocking handle and the ejection port on the correct side. But the AKM doesn't. What the fuck? Man, even when they're getting it wrong, they're getting it wrong. Yeah, check it out. A reasonably accurately modelled AK with the fire selector, ejection port and cocking handle on the correct side. I mean, they've still got an ACOG scope kind of welded to the dust cover. So, it's not perfect. But, hey, it's a couple of steps in the right direction. But how did they get this one right and the other one wrong? That's the thing that baffles me. Because here's the thing. So, there's an AK-47, which is this, and an AKM, both in Far Cry 6. But the thing is, most of the time when people say AK-47, what they're actually visualising is an AKM. Because the AKM is basically a 1959 modernisation, simplification and enhancement of the AK-47. It's basically an AK-47 that's been simplified for mass production. Instead of having a milled receiver, it's got a stamped receiver, for example. So, the vast majority of AK-47s in the world are actually AKMs. So why are they different in Far Cry 6? Why does one have the working parts on the other side of receiver? Somebody at Ubisoft went to the trouble of modelling this weapon. Oh yeah, this is where stuff... You start reading some of the stuff scattered around this place and it's kind of dark. There's some seriously nasty shit been happening in this zoo, but anyway, I digress. Somebody at Ubisoft has actually gone to the trouble of modelling a reasonably accurate AK-47. And it should have been a piece of cake to model the AKM, because externally, looking at it, there's very little to tell the difference between an AKM and an AK-47. I mean, there are some differences, but you do really have to know what you're looking for. The AK-47 was made from a milled receiver. The AKM was made from a stamped and riveted receiver. And oh my god, I've just noticed something. Pause. Gun nerds, I apologise in advance, but you're probably about to shit yourself. That is, if you haven't already noticed yourself. So remember what I just said. The AK-47, which the weapon I'm holding right now is, in-game, was made from a milled receiver, a solid piece of metal that was milled out. The AKM is stamped and riveted. Now take a closer look at the receiver of this AK-47. Those kids, yes, gun nerds, say it with me, those are rivets. Those rivets would be fine on the AKM, which did have a stamped and riveted receiver, but this is not the AKM. They've actually got both weapons in game. They've made a point of putting both weapons in game, and they still fucked it up. I mean, you know, beyond the obvious, with the AKM having all of the working parts on the wrong side of the rifle, but, you know, just... I don't know what I'm expecting of Ubisoft at this point. But, you know, consistency clearly isn't it. This is the thing that I love about Ubisoft, though, because on the one hand, they're usually too fucking lazy to bother to try doing anything properly. But when they do make that little bit of extra effort, like putting an AKM in the game to complement the AK-47, they still manage to fuck it up. And it's something that should have been nearly impossible to fuck up. Because the two weapons are basically the same thing with a few minor cosmetic differences. And they have made minor cosmetic differences between the AK-47 and the AKM. They've given the AKM some vaguely modern plastic furniture. And if they just left it at that, it would have been fine. I mean, yeah, sure, okay, the AK-47 has a couple of rivets on the receiver where no AK-47 would ever have a couple of rivets. But I mean, most people are never going to notice that. I've been playing this game for months and I've only just noticed it. But no, they're Ubisoft, they couldn't just leave it the fuck alone. If you have an AK in the game for right-handed shooters, then we have to be inclusive and have an AK in the game for left-handed shooters. So on the AKM, they put all of the working parts on the wrong side. And yet you still use it right-handed. And that's why I love Ubisoft. Because for the last couple of years, they've just been too damn lazy to bother trying to do anything properly in their games. But on those rare occasions when they do try to at least make the effort, they still manage to find a way to fuck it up. And it's always hilarious. Oh, there's a couple of other things that I noticed when I was doing this mission. So I just released 2 prisoners, yeah? You saw one of them running for her life, as well you would if you just spent a week in this nightmare palace. Look at the other one. Are you okay? Do you maybe want to go home? You know, whenever you're ready. In your own time. There's no rush or anything. Maybe she's just traumatised, Jingles. Well, honestly, really? I mean, realistically, yeah, of course she would be. But do you honestly think that the reason why she's just wandering around like a zombie is because Ubisoft thought, let's make the poor woman traumatised? And what the fuck are you doing here? Well, thanks for turning up. Yeah, everybody gangster once the shooting stops. But yeah, there she goes, just casually wandering off. Do you honestly think that that is a result of Ubisoft taking the time to code some traumatised non-player character AI? Or, and this is Ubisoft we're talking about, it's just another example of their dumb fuck AI not reacting appropriately to the circumstances. Because I know which one of those 2 choices I'm putting my money on. But there are 2 other things that I noticed when I was doing this mission that I wanted to show you. So, the way the game decides whether or not the NPCs are going to shoot at you is... Lady, are you alright? Do you have a friend I could call or something? Do you not have a home to go to? Man, this is the worst case of Stockholm Syndrome I've seen in my life. Anyway, whatever. So, yes. The way the game decides how the NPCs are going to react to you, whether that be hostile or not, depends on 2 things. 1, do you have a weapon out? If your weapons are holstered and you're just wandering around, you'll be fine. Unless you're in a restricted area, unless you're trespassing, in which case the NPCs will become hostile, regardless of whether you have a weapon out or not. Yeah? Watch this. I noticed this as I was running around trying to find the last couple of prisoners to release, because how do you know that you're actually trespassing? Well, you're inside a red shaded area on the map. If you look down at my compass, you'll see it says trespassing. And now I'm not trespassing. And it didn't just say trespassing. Watch. It gives you a nice big red angry border to let you know that you're going to get shot. There we are. I'm going to get shot. And now I'm not. Now I'm going to get shot. And now I'm not. It's like somebody at Ubisoft forgot to flick the switch on inside the search area, inside the trespass area, that also makes the search area a trespass area. But that's not the only spectacularly dumb thing still to come in today's Far Cry 6 video, because when I did eventually find the remaining prisoners and release them, well, you'll know it when you see it. I'm not going to spoil the surprise.
Run! Get moving! Go! Go while you can.
Don't let them torture.
Talia, the people are safe.
Good, but it's not enough. Yara needs to see what Castillo is doing. See why we can't sit silent.
Security cameras are all over this place. Some footage could change a lot of minds.
Fuck yes, Danny! Broadcasting footage! Rachel will know how to get that to as many people as we can.
I'll look for the control room.
Apologies.
Now, as I run to the control room, I want you to pay attention to the 50 caliber machine gun mounted outside the front door. Very convenient, yeah? Almost as if I might need that in a minute.
The footage must be in here. Okay, the footage.
Danny, they're sending in reinforcements.
Coño, the download isn't finished.
Look them up. We need that footage.
Talia, once again, being about as useful as tits on a fish. Okay, so the major threat at the moment is coming from the left, so I'm not going to be able to use the 50 cal immediately, but once I've dealt with those guys, I will now be able to use the 50 cal. And remember, this is a 50 caliber machine gun. This is not an anti-personnel weapon, it's an anti-material weapon. This fires a round that is used to take out the engine blocks of fucking cars. And bearing in mind, I have a 45 caliber pistol that can kill people with one shot at a range of 400 meters. But this 50 caliber machine gun, and not even counting the shots that go into the 6-inch wide wooden post that guy was hiding behind, but a 50 caliber machine gun that can disable a fucking Humvee with a single shot at a range of 500 meters or more, but for some bizarre reason needs half a fucking crate of ammo to deal with an infantryman at a range of 10. And no, I'm not even taking into account the shots that hit the 6-inch wide wooden post that he was taking cover behind. And yes, I realise that a 50 caliber machine gun, well, at any range, would go through 6 inches of wood like a hot knife through butter. I don't care about that. Ubisoft can have that one. No, I mean the 5 or 6 shots that actually hit him before he eventually died. Yes, some of them were around the corner of the post and hit him in the shoulder, but it's a fucking 50 caliber machine gun. It should have taken his arm off out the shoulder. I mean, look at this. This is an MP7. It's firing 4.6 by 30mm ammo. And I'm barely even aiming with this thing and killing people in 2 or 3 shots. It's like the people who designed the weapons for this game have never touched a real weapon in their lives. I mean, I'm not expecting Far Cry 6 to be a mil sim. This isn't Arma 3 here. It's a Far Cry game. But at the same time, keep it a secret if you must. I mean, I understand you probably don't want to risk tarnishing your right-on hipster left-wing credentials or anything, but, you know, you don't even have to give the guy a mention in the credits of your next game, but for the love of God, please, hire somebody to consult on the weapons design in your next game who has actually touched a weapon in real life, rather than leaving it up to a bunch of hipsters who have only ever seen guns on television. I'm sure we would all appreciate it. And don't worry, it'll be our little secret. I promise not to tell a soul.
Finally, done.
Now I guess it's time to go and listen to Talia complain about me doing what she asked me to do.
Talia, it's clear down here. And I got the footage.
Now I see why Clara likes you. Maria's not gonna be able to cover this shit up. Don't worry, we'll give Libertad some credit.
Just do your thing, Talia.
Okay, meet me at that shitty Anton statue by the front gates. This is worth it. You'll see. Trust, Danny.
Oh, why won't the game let me shoot her?
Talia, where the fuck are you?
Look, it's Anton's fucking zebra.
That's a horse and some paint.
See, but it'll make me famous. Take a pic. Hurry up!
Oh, be careful, Talia. Wouldn't want you to fall off and hurt yourself or anything. And she has a Tech 9. Well, of course she does.
Fucking dare you. I'm good with animals.
Yeah, thanks, Talia, for that outstanding job you did as a lookout. I mean, I couldn't have done any of that without you. Well, of the 3 members of Maximus Matanzas, I've done Paolo's mission, I've just done Talia's mission. That just leaves the other guy, whose name I actually can't remember right now, but I don't actually hate him. I mean, he's just as much of a clueless fuck-up as the other 2, but the difference between them and him is that he doesn't pretend to be anything other than a clueless fuck-up. He knows exactly what he is, and he isn't sorry about it. And I can kind of respect that. So, I guess that's what we have to look forward to. Or maybe look forward to, it isn't quite the right word, but the sooner it's done, the sooner we're done with Maximus Matanzas and we get on with deposing Castillo. I mean, it's never going to be that simple. At least, I fervently hope it's not going to be that simple. I'm sure that Ubisoft's writers are probably going to have some surprises lying in wait for us along the way. I am equally confident that there are going to be extremely badly hidden surprises that get telegraphed from a mile away, but, you know, that's just Far Cry 6 for you. In fact, the only thing that continues to surprise me about Far Cry 6 is just how surprisingly stupid it is. And that may sound surprising, but the game still keeps coming up with new and interesting ways of making me say, wow, that's really stupid. And, you know, terrible though this game is, that is genuinely what I love about it. And on that bombshell, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.